Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah if you are new. Hello, if you're not new, welcome back. Today's video is gonna be another sit down video. Since school's out now and people are getting ready to go to college in the fall, hopefully if classes are in person, and people have applied to schools and people are getting ready to be freshmen in college. So I figured, why not give you guys my take on college and some of the things that I wish I knew before I went into college. I am an upcoming senior, which is crazy. This will kind of give my advice to any incoming freshmen coming into college, preparing to enter into this whole new world. So if you guys want to know all about what I wish I would have known when I went into college my freshman year, then continue to watch. Alright, so freshman year was my best year in college. Freshman year of college was really fun, but it was also very intimidating going into college. In general, I was extremely nervous, but I was also really excited to kind of get out of my little town where my high school was and to kind of branch out and begin something new. I have a bunch of things on my phone that I wrote down because I really wanted to make sure I hit a lot of points, because there were a lot of things that I wish I would have known that will hopefully help you guys in the future. So the first thing I have down is to make sure to choose the school that is right for you. Not the school that your friends are going to, not the school that's the biggest, the school that really is the best for you. And if that means doing research and going on school tours, which I highly suggest going to tour your campus and kind of doing your research on the school before you go. My story of going into college, I've told a few times. So I applied to a few schools, not a whole bunch, but I applied to a few, most of them out of state. I actually just ended up going to a school that was probably about 30 minutes from where I lived, in Kennesaw, which you guys know I go to Kennesaw State. And so I ended up deciding to go to that school, which was not my first option, and I was kind of upset about it. Not upset, but I was kind of just like, okay, I guess I'll just settle for this and then transfer a year and a half in, and which is exactly what I did. I ended up transferring to UGA, a bigger school. School just wasn't for me. I love, you know, the traditional aspect of all of that, but after being at Kennesaw, I realized that I'm much more fit to be at Kennesaw than I was at UGA. But I have a whole story on my transfer experience, why I transferred back, what I was going through, all that stuff. So go ahead and check that out if you guys would like. Basically, I just want you guys to know that you need to make sure that this school is for you. You don't need to go to it because you want to impress people or because you want to go where your friends are going. You need to go to a school that you fit into. Just make sure you do your research on those types of things, and you make sure that this is the school that you're most comfortable at. And transferring is a normal thing. More people do it than you think, and if you end up going to a school and you realize that that school is probably where you shouldn't be, then transferring, thank goodness, is most always an option, and you are able to transfer if you need to or if you can. So just keep that in mind. Freshman year is just a lot of change in general, so if you realize that you're not where you're supposed to be, that's totally okay. Everybody goes through phases like that, and then you just end up finding where you're supposed to be in the end. Secondly, take advantage of your dining hall and your meal plans. Kennesaw only has one dining hall, but freshman year, that was where my friends and we literally all went. Like, we had access to the food we wanted. It was kind of a place where we would hang out, all of that stuff. So take advantage of your meal plans in your dining hall, especially as you get older. You may not be able to afford a meal plan, or you may not just have one anymore because you're not really on campus as often. So if you can get a meal plan freshman year, take advantage of that, because grocery shopping is the worst. If you can eat all your meals on campus, then go ahead, and they have unlimited free food, so go ahead and eat all that food that you can. But if you don't want to gain the freshman 15, maybe avoid some of the bad things in the dining halls. The next one is use Rate My Professor. I had no clue what Rate My Professor was. I hadn't heard of it until I got to college my freshman year, after I had signed up for classes. And the only thing that's kind of rough with Rate My Professor when you're signing up for your first semester is that obviously a lot of times you register at orientation for your first semester, and you can't, you don't really have the time to go in and Rate My Professor for all the classes you want to register in. And plus it takes some time in the beginning to kind of figure it all out and how to go back and forth. But I definitely highly suggest Rate My Professor. A lot of them of course are opinions, but most of the reviews, if it's a bad teacher, most of the reviews will be it's a bad teacher. So make sure you really pay attention to those reviews. It'll tell you, what they got in the class, if they would take the class again. They kind of give you a rundown of the class and what the teacher does that's good or bad. They tell you if you need the textbook, if it's mandatory attendance. So it really tells you a lot of things before you decide to register for a class, and then you're like, oh crap, I shouldn't have chose this professor. So really take advantage of Rate My Professor because it'll help you a lot. The next thing is registering for classes. Now, registering for classes in college is stressful. At least for me, it's super stressful always, every year. I'm a senior now, and every year it's still stressful registering and hoping I get the classes. But when you're a freshman, it kind of sucks because you're at the end of the totem pole and you're the last people most of the time, unless you're in honors college, to register for classes. So a lot of the classes that you may need, or if you want to get ahead into major classes, if you're able to do that, a lot of times they're already taken up by upperclassmen. So registering is very stressful and difficult. So make sure before it's time to register for classes, you kind of know how to work the website. You are able to figure out what classes you need to take, which that goes to another point I have, is to take advantage of your advisors. Go to advising appointments as much as you need to. Email your advisors all the time if you have questions. They will help you and they will answer your questions, and they'll kind of give you a rundown of the classes that you need to take in order to graduate at this certain time. So they are really helpful in figuring out registering. Make sure you know how to work your website when you go to register for classes. When you register, you'll have, a list of the classes and the professors and the days and the times that they're at and where they're located on campus. So make sure that when you're registering, you build a schedule that's right for you. So for example, my freshman year, I did Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, and I thought that was the best thing ever because you come out of high school after having classes every day, Monday through Friday, and now you're able to build your own schedule. So I thought Monday, Wednesday, Friday was great. I'd have Tuesdays, Thursdays off, but I was wrong. Waking up at 8 a.m. on Friday every day was not fun, but I had to do it, and Thursdays are a big night in college. So make sure you build your schedule according to how you think that you'll like it best. I know when you're a freshman it's kind of hard because you don't really have a lot of options, but just make sure you're building your schedule according to when you think you'll wake up. Don't sign up for an 8 a.m. or 9:30 if you're not going to wake up for that class, and if you're just going to skip it every day. If it's the last option, you might have to, but don't do it if you can avoid it. Luckily, building your schedule in college is pretty flexible for the most part. Luckily, with a lot of times when you're registering for classes, you can see throughout the week when that class is filled up or how many people are on the waiting list or if it's all taken up. And now when you go to sign up, you'll know, you'll have a backup. That's another thing I suggest, having a backup class. If you want to take this one class, find a backup class in case your class is full and you don't want to get on the wait list or anything like that. Have a backup class that you're able to take that works with your schedule. Make sure you can play around with building your schedule and how to register for classes before you actually have to register, because sometimes it's extremely stressful when you go to register and then you have all these issues because either you have a prereq issue or all your classes are taken up or closed or whatever. So make sure you continue to watch the classes as they fill up and play around with the website to help you register for classes. My next thing is about making friends. So making friends in college is definitely not like making friends in high school. In high school, you see the same people every day and you have the same people in your class every day, and college obviously goes by semesters, so you only have these people for a semester in your classes, and a lot of times it's people you'll never see again, or it's just a too big of a class. And so making friends is definitely different than making friends in high school. You basically see a new person every day. At college, it's just people from all different places, from everywhere. So it's definitely a different ball game than making friends in high school. If you want to make friends in college, you have to put yourself out there. You can't just expect that people are going to come to you, because they're expecting that from other people as well, especially freshmen. Everybody's in the same boat. So just, if you're in a class when you're a freshman, most likely other people in that class are freshmen as well. So if you're sitting next to someone, go ahead, hey, what's up? Start a conversation. They'll probably be happy that you talk to them, and if they aren't, then you'll know. For the most part, if they don't talk to you, talk to them. Even if it's a simple like, is this blah 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 class, and like making sure, and then kind of start a conversation with them. It's very intimidating and scary at first, but everybody's in the same boat and everybody kind of wants to make friends anyways. So definitely you have to put yourself out there. It was different for me. I joined a sorority, so I did know a few people, but not a lot. And so I had to, you know, talk to a few people in my classes, and I met some people in my classes. So just talk to people in your classes, join groups. You can join clubs, you can join sorority and fraternity if that's what you're about. Get involved in college. Getting involved in college looks great on your resume. Meeting friends is definitely more difficult, but like in your dorm room, wherever, you definitely have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit and just kind of take that step forward and introduce yourself. But after that, you should be okay. And when you talk to people in your class, it really could be helpful if you become friends with the person sitting next to you. A lot of professors will assign group work or group projects, and there you go, boom, you automatically have someone to talk to, and you already have someone that could be in your group. So just keep that in mind as you're going to college, that making friends is a different ballgame than it is in high school. It's not as terrible as people may think, because a lot of people are in the same boat as you and they just want to meet new people and make new friends. So keep that in mind. Oh my gosh, this is a big thing that I wish I knew in college. So studying in college is not the same as studying in high school. I don't know about you guys, but when I was in high school, I definitely probably could have tried harder, but I kind of just breezed through high school. I never really studied. If I did, I would study like the night before for a few hours and kind of do my thing. But college, I learned this the hard way my freshman year. I had a history class, and I am not very good at history. I just don't enjoy it. It goes through one ear, out the other. Just not a fan. And I was in this big history class, and I was freaking out because our professor had these tests on a lockdown browser. And if you don't know what lockdown browser is, it is an application that you download on your computer, and you then take the test, and it's like a lockdown. Like, you can't access any other things while you're on it. Some teachers use the webcam to record you while you're taking your test, and use the microphone and all that stuff. And so it was my first time doing it, and I blame myself. I didn't study as much as I should have at all. I did not prepare. I did not use my time management skills at all. And that class, I learned the hard way about studying and how hard you actually need to focus in college. I learned how to study as the years went on, and then I needed to study way sooner in advance than a day before a test or a night before a test. I never really pulled all-nighters. That's just not who I am. If I'm tired, I'm gonna go to bed because I feel like I'm not gonna like retain any more information if I'm just sitting there exhausted. So I would cut myself off at a certain time, and I couldn't stay up all night and study. I had friends that did it. I'm better at studying during the day. Find a place to study. The library was huge freshman year. I remember I would go to the library with my friends and study, but like sitting in my room and studying just isn't helpful. I get nothing done. I start going on my phone and doing all these things. So definitely find a good place to study, whether it's like a coffee shop or anywhere that you can really get to yourself focused. The library was a huge resource for me that I used and took advantage of. Especially the quiet floor of our library was really great during finals time when I had to study. Use your resources. Use Quizlets, use Course Hero, use things like that. There's a lot of times GroupMe's, class GroupMe's, and a lot of times there'll be resources within there. But I will say be careful with GroupMe's. My college got in trouble. There was this big thing that happened with GroupMe and cheating. So be careful with that, because professors are starting to realize what students are doing in GroupMe's and what students are sending in GroupMe's. So be careful with that. But other than that, GroupMe's are good for just communicating with the class, whether it's something you missed the day before or whether you don't know what's due or what's assigned. That's a great way to remember things like that. The next thing I want to talk about is buying textbooks. I learned this the hard way too. I spent like all my money on textbooks freshman year, first semester. Do not buy textbooks if you do not need it for the class. And you can figure this out by maybe going a few weeks. A lot of professors give the little leeway time to give you a few weeks. And professors will tell you if you really need the book, or if you need it just for study sources. You'll be able to tell really kind of if you need the book, and like asking people who've had the class before if they've actually needed the book, or if they have the book and you can borrow their book. There's a lot of buy sell pages on Facebook. There's Amazon prices that are used books that are so much cheaper than buying them at your bookstore. Do not buy them at your school bookstore if you do not need to. Books are expensive, and I had one class where I think I used the book my freshman year. The rest of the books that I bought didn't even need or use. So make sure you figure out if you really need the book or not. You can kind of go a little bit in the class without using it, unless the teacher like has you bring it to class. Like you'll kind of be able to tell if you really need the book or not. Yeah, you can go from there. So don't buy books from your bookstore if you really can avoid it. Borrow from friends, or used books are much cheaper at Amazon. Yeah, when it comes to books, be smart about it. Don't spend all your money on books. Next thing I want to talk about is time management. Time management in college is huge. It's very hard to kind of figure it out in the beginning, because you're going from being under your parents' roof and living with your family to now being on your own and being extremely independent, and kind of having to learn how to manage all your time. That's a big thing, is learning time management with your social life and schoolwork. You kind of have to find that good balance between it. If you have a test on Friday, or if you have a test on Wednesday, and your friends are all going out on Thursday and they're begging you to go out, really think about it. Be smart about it. If you have that test the next day, you know, missing one night out is not going to kill you. It will not be the end of the world. There will be plenty more nights out in college. So if you have to miss a party to study, that is much better in the long run than failing a test or doing extremely bad on a test because you went to a party and you were extremely hungover the next day. So yeah, make sure that you manage your time wisely and you learn how to balance both social life and school life. It's difficult in the beginning, but you will get the hang of it, and you'll realize your freshman year is that time, I think, when everyone kind of goes a little wild and crazy because they're in college. It's their first year and it's great. But as the college years go on, you will learn how to manage your time more and what's really important and what isn't. Another thing that goes along kind of with time management is budgeting your money. Learn how to budget your money in college. It's extremely helpful. It's extremely important. I know a lot of people have to get jobs when they go to college, so independence is key in college, and learning how to budget your money is extremely important because grocery shopping is expensive, gas is expensive. A lot of things in college are expensive, so make sure things that you are buying are smart purchases and not just impulsive purchases. It will really help you in the long run, especially if you have a job. Saving and having a savings account for after college once you graduate is really helpful. So make sure you budget your money wisely. Don't just go and blow all that money. Things cost money. Rent, a lot of people have to pay for rent and bills and whatever else. And school, college in general is expensive. Time management and budgeting. Another thing, this is a personal preference for me. I know that some people will be like, no, it's fine, but I do not skip classes. I've done it a few times, of course I have, and that's the good thing about college. You're your own person at the end of the day, so you're gonna do what you want to do. I don't skip a class unless I absolutely have to, or attendance isn't mandatory and I can find the notes online. Maybe I'll skip it for something. Other than that, you just go to class. It'll help you. It really will. It'll benefit you. Sometimes the professor will give you a heads up, like, you can come to class if you want. If you don't want to, I don't care. A lot of my classes have been through college. I give you 3 absences, and then that 3rd absence, your grade will drop. If the class isn't mandatory, your professor will let you know, but keep in mind, if you don't go to class, you may miss something super important. Sometimes professors do extra credit or bonus work that you may miss out on. So I mean, you do what you want to do at the end of the day, but that is some advice that I will give to you guys. As tempting as it may sound to sleep in and stuff, you might as well just go to that 50-minute, hour and 15-minute class, whatever it may be, and just go and learn and leave. That's just my personal opinion, but at the end of the day, you're gonna do what you want to do. So now we're gonna get into like kind of the juicier, deeper things, if you will. So let's talk about boys. I'm sorry, and I hate to tell you this, but boys, especially when you're freshmen in college, are not very much different than when you are a senior in high school. Those boys are about a month or two apart. You were just in high school just like you, and now they're in college. Most of them don't magically grow in a few months and mature. A lot of boys in college, I know a lot of people think that they're gonna find their soulmate or the people they marry, and some people might and some people do. I did not. I will say that college boys a lot of times are just there to have fun. A lot of them don't want to commit and settle down. Some might, some do. I don't speak for everyone, but I will say with my experience with boys, it wasn't much different than high school. Boys will be boys. At the end of the day, they're kind of going to do their own thing, whatever they want to do in college. So keep that in mind. If you're a freshman and you're going into college, and yes, there is a great selection of boys, new boys that are from all over that you haven't gone to high school with for 4 years. It's great, but keep in mind that they are also in the same boat as you of going to a school with a bunch of new girls, and they are kind of basically exploring their options their freshman year and probably all throughout college. So keep that in mind. I do not speak for everyone, so if any boys are watching and I offended you, I am so sorry, but that is just kind of been my experience with boys throughout college. I should remember that, girls. Don't be naive and realize what you're getting yourself into. Another thing I want to talk about is homesickness. I think that homesickness and feeling overwhelmed is extremely normal, especially freshman year. Feeling like you made the wrong decision or feeling super out of place is super normal. A lot of people go through it. I went through it. My friends went through it. It just happens. It's part of life. You're going from being under your parents' roof and under their watch every single day of your life to now being on your own and making your own decisions. And sometimes college can get lonely and you can feel kind of on your own and overwhelmed with school and job and money and things like that. So just remember to ground yourself and to know that it's fine to feel anxious and nervous and overwhelmed, and it's okay to feel homesick. Just know that that feeling will pass, and everyone goes through it, so you're not alone. You're not weird that you're feeling homesick or that you're feeling sad. Just remember that it's normal to feel that way, because I definitely felt that way, and I had a lot of friends that felt that way too. So homesickness is normal. Call your mom, call your dad, call your family, talk to them. It always helps me, so remember that. So the next thing I want to talk about is that college, nobody really judges you in college. At least this has been my experience. You know, people, of course, at the end of the day, you're always not going to be liked by someone, which is okay, and you realize that as you grow, but nobody really judges you. Everybody's from everywhere, and everybody's from different home lives. It's not like high school when you have this clique and this clique and this clique. And I know, you know, being in a sorority and fraternity, there are stereotypes that come with it, but for the most part, you know, you're not really judged. If you want to wear pajamas to class, wear pajamas, and if you want to dress up and wear a dress and heels, nobody's gonna look at you and be like, why are they all dressed up for class? There are clubs for almost anything in college, so you can find somewhere to fit in almost anywhere. Just keep that in mind. Be yourself. Nobody's really judging you, and if you feel like people are judging you, then screw them. You do you at the end of the day. Another thing I wish I would have learned when I was a freshman is that don't feel pressured to have to do something. It's okay to say no, and not just things like peer pressure and stuff, but I'm talking about like, if you don't want to go out one night or if you don't want to go to a party, then say no. It's not the end of the world if you miss one night out. If you want to just be alone one night, if you don't really want to hang out with anyone, it's okay to say no. It's okay to not go with the crowd. You'll have another opportunity. Don't feel pressure to do anything that you don't want to do, and that goes for almost everything. All right, so the last point I want to hit is that you will adjust faster than you think in college. I know sometimes it feels like it's the end of the world whenever you feel overwhelmed or stressed out, but you will adjust to it. Some people think that it'll take, you know, for all 4 years to adjust, but I promise you, be in your second semester freshman year and be like, oh wait, this isn't so bad. So just remember that and keep that in mind, that you'll adjust. A lot of times things feel so big in college and so new, and you kind of have to remember you're on your own and you're figuring it out. Just like with almost any change, you figure it out and you realize you'll adjust in the time that you need to adjust. So just remember that it comes sooner than you think. Everyone's experience is different, so don't just compare yours to someone else who might be doing great their first day or their first semester freshman year compared to yours. It doesn't matter. Everybody's experience is different, but I will say you eventually adjust and you'll eventually be where you need to be. Those are kind of my things about college that I wish I knew sooner when I was a baby freshman going in. It is a big brand new world, but it's a super exciting time in your life, and you get to learn new things and meet new people and have amazing experiences. And so I think that these things will really help you. It would have helped me if I knew a lot of these things going into my freshman year. So yeah, just keep these things in mind as you start college, and know that all of these things are normal and helpful to remember along the way. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more college videos, I'd be more than happy to do them. I am a senior, so I will be graduating next spring. So if you guys want any more advice from me about picking my major, about why I chose Kennesaw, things like that, then I'd be more than happy to do them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to subscribe down below, and I will see you all in my next video.